going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Social Club, where everyone has a voice. And I'll just be real honest with you guys. I think this title is going to be the end of me. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be the one to have to say it. I don't think Ohio State should be ranked number one. That's just my honest opinion. I'm going to go over my reason for it through this entire video, but real quick, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, check out all of our other content, support the channel. Our biggest goal right now is to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you guys can just help us out there, it's completely free. Comment your thoughts down below, check out all of our other content and everything like that. But let's just get right into it. So I don't think Ohio State should be ranked number one. I'm going to give my reasons why, but I want to make a couple things very clear before I give my reason. Number one, me saying Ohio State shouldn't be ranked number one does not mean I think Ohio State is a bad football team, okay? Just because Ohio State wouldn't be ranked number one in my scenario doesn't mean I don't think Ohio State is a good team. I know it is a very good team. Personally, I had them going in two-peating this year, and my prediction still seems pretty clear, but I made that prediction earlier this season before the game started. It's still holding true now. I still think they have a solid chance of two-peating. However, I don't think currently, if we're being honest, they should be ranked number one. Now, let me go over my reasons. In order for this to make sense, let me just give a quick understanding of what is the difference between strength of schedule versus strength of record. That's a very interesting question. It's something that I wish that the college committee would adopt or make it more apparent that they adopted this when it comes with the rankings, because there's plenty of rankings outside of the top 10 that I think are just completely unnecessary, and it's really just based off the hype of the team, the brand of the team, or maybe how many 5-stars there are in the team, rather than the actual product on the field and who they're beating and how they're beating teams. When it comes to the strength of schedule, basically what that means is it's more of a past tense. So who are you facing this year, and what are the rankings of these teams, right? Now, as you see, this gives a heavy bias towards the SEC. Why? Because the SEC is notorious for having a lot of teams ranked without actual quality wins to suggest that these teams should be ranked. Every SEC school, if they start off 4-0, they're pretty much guaranteed a ranking. That's just how it goes, right? Now, when we talk about a strength of record is more of a present tense. So now, who have you beaten? And out of those teams you've beaten, are they currently ranked? Or when you face them, were they ranked? And those metrics matter a lot. So when you look at a team like Penn State, the quality win of Oregon going to Penn State and beating them should be weighted differently than UCLA going to beat Penn State. I know that seems extreme because you're like, what's the difference between these teams? They're the same team. No, when you face them, were they ranked or not? And that should go towards the quality of your win versus down the line when you beat that team. And honestly, I think this actually helps Ohio State in that favor, because we see Texas is not a number one ranked team, and they shouldn't have been. But I think that should still count positively towards Ohio State, because when they faced them in week one, they were the number one ranked school, and I feel like that should count. So I'm more of a strength of record type of guy. Now, funny enough, I brought that example. That's actually my reasoning of why I think Ohio State shouldn't be ranked number one, is that week one Texas win was a very good signature win. But after that, who have you faced? And that's an honest question. Who have you faced after that? Your only other signature win up until this point would be, I'm guessing, Washington. Washington would be their other signature win. Now compare that to some of the other top 5 schools. So you have Indiana, you have Texas A&M, you have Alabama, you have Georgia. So when you look at these schools, the strength of schedule and the strength of record should dictate that those 4 schools below Ohio State have a legitimate argument to be above Ohio State in ranking, if we're being completely honest with each other, okay? Now, in my personal ranking, I'm going to say it right now, Who do I have in my number one slot? I think, in all honesty, it's very hard to argue that Texas A&M shouldn't be number one right now. Texas A&M 100% should be the number one ranked school right now. They are undefeated, which I think is very important, and the quality of their wins stand by the other current undefeated teams in the top 5. I think they have a better case for who they've beaten and how they've beaten them versus Indiana and versus Ohio State. Now, credit to Indiana. Indiana is actually number 2 on my list, and I think it's actually neck and neck between Texas A&M and Indiana. Both of them, if you think about a strength of record, have a legitimate argument of who they face and how they have beaten them to make the case that they should be the number 1 ranked team. But I have Texas A&M on my list, and then number 2 would be Indiana, and then at number 3 I would have Ohio State, and I think that's 100% fair. And until later in the season and noted otherwise, I think it should be like that. And I'm just going to say it right now. If we carry this out, Alabama and Georgia, the only reason why they're not ahead of Ohio State is because they actually have 1 loss. But if you applied that same rule to those 2 schools, they too also make the case that they should be ranked ahead of Ohio State. But records matter. They do. And I'm a component of records. I think records are important. Ohio State's still undefeated. Everyone they've beaten the crap out of. All right? It really has not been close. So I'm not going to stretch it too far to say that they need to be like out of the top 5 or anything like that. That's not my argument. All I'm saying is we're at the point now that all these wins need to be carefully looked at, carefully documented, how they're winning, who they're winning against, everything. And that should really dictate who should be in the rankings. And I think it's perfectly fine if you are the number 1 ranked team and you go down to number 2 or you go down to number 3 just because you haven't faced tougher opponents in your schedule yet. I think that's perfectly fine. And I also don't think it changes the calculus, because at the end of the year, your whole record is going to be assist anyway. So whether you're ranked number 1 now doesn't matter. It matters in the end what your true body of work is to determine if you're going to be ranked number 1, 2, 3, all that stuff. So because of that, just because I don't think Ohio State is should be ranked number 1 now, does not mean that they're not going to be able to earn their slot going towards the end of the season. And that's the beauty of college football, you know? But I think when we're at this point to where we're still stuck on brands and we're still stuck on this concept that you can't move down in rankings, which I don't think is true. I think you should move down in rankings depending on who you're beating and how you're beating and what your record and what your schedule and all. I think that should be a thing, but for some reason they're so adamant against it. But I think we should embrace that, and I think that's fine. And I think, if anything, that would be even better for Ohio State. I think they would play harder. I think they would play better. I think they would schedule better opponents, because that's kind of what we want. Now, to be fair to them, it's not their fault that Penn State exploded. You know, Penn State, from a strength of schedule point, Ohio State had a legitimate argument because Penn State was supposed to be good. It was a top 5 team at the beginning of the year. Completely imploded. So because of that, now look at what we have. Who are you facing? Who do you have left, you know? So their biggest opponent is probably going to be Michigan. And we look at the body of work, your signature win is going to be Texas, and then probably Michigan at the end of the year versus Texas A&M. You know, Texas A&M also, I think they're going to beat Texas, but, you know, more importantly, they beaten Notre Dame and they beaten LSU at LSU. I think those are weighted more. Indiana has a very legitimate argument. They went out to Oregon and beat Oregon handedly. I think that is a very solid case for them to even try to steal the number 1 slot too. But regardless of who you guys have, please let me know who you guys have, because I'm very curious on what you guys' take on this is. But regardless of who you guys have, I want to make one thing clear before I wrap this up, is that when it comes to rankings, we need to move on from what conference or what your brand is and stuff, and we need to have legitimate criterias and numbers and statistics that we look at to give teams proper rankings. Because I said it really early on. I said at the beginning of the year, I felt like a team like a Kansas State had no business being ranked, or teams like Mizzou had no business being unranked. And that's part of the calculus here. It's like, all these rankings are essentially meaningless until the end of the year. I want to make them mean something. And part of the way it can help make it mean something is having more clearer criteria. You can start off with strength of schedule, but 4 or 5 games in, you need to assess the strength of record. And then that's a better and more truer sense of how to assess how good these teams actually are. But that's my rant. That's what I think. You guys let me know. Should Ohio State be ranked number 1? Yes or no? And then tell me why. And I already know this is going to happen. I already understand. When Ohio State is still undefeated 4 or 5 weeks later, I know you guys are going to come back and act like I just made this video. I made this video. The date is November 4th, 2025. So all the information I'm saying right now is in relations to November 4th, 2025. And at November 4th, 2025, I'm saying Ohio State should not be ranked number 1. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I appreciate all you guys. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Check out all of our other videos. And of course, I'm going to see you in the next one.